Once you have everything you need in your project window, you can go ahead and move the fish to where they need to be. And first I want to go to fish 1. And fish 1 I think is a little bit too big, so I'm going to press the letter S to open up the scale, and I'm going to set the scale to be 75%. And that'll make it small enough that it will have enough room to swim. And now I want to do the position, so press P for the position, and I'm going to first move it where I want it, and you can scroll with your cursor on the numbers. This is the X value, or horizontal. This is the Y value, or vertical. So let's move it over to the right by clicking and dragging, and that looks like a good position. And now I'm going to move it up by typing in the number 200, and that will move it closer to the top, and that's a good place for it. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that my cursor is at the 0 point. That's the first frame. Now I'm going to set the position keyframes. So I will click on position, go to 212, which is halfway. I'm going to move the fish, and this will make a new keyframe. If you click the stopwatch again, it will remove keyframes, so it's a toggle switch. You either turn it on to start keyframing or turn it off to get rid of all keyframes. So don't press it again until you want to get rid of everything. Right now, I just want to move it with my cursor. I drag it across. That sets the keyframe down here. Now I want to go to the last frame, and I can do that by dragging. This is the SMPTE readout. And if I drag, it will make it go to the end. So I drag it to the right. And now I'm going to make this fish go back to where it started. This one should be 200, just to adjust it. This one I know is about 1060, because I kind of looked at it. Now, if you press the space bar, it's going to show you how the motion is going. And you can see that the fish gets to one end, but then he just continues facing the same direction, and you don't want him to do that. It looks silly. So now I'm going to press the space bar again, and I'm going to go to 213. So 2:13, and actually I want to go to 212. You can get to that by just using the arrow next. This shows you where each keyframe is. If you click on the arrow, it takes you, there's a keyframe. It tells you I am on a keyframe, okay? And then this would take you to the previous keyframe if I clicked again. This is where I want to be, because I want to make sure that I set for scale a keyframe right there. Then I'm going to go to the next frame, which is 213. And on 213, I'm going to unlink the constrained proportions. And now I'm going to click on that field. That's the X field, so the horizontal field, which controls the width of the fish. I'm going to type -75, and that will make it the same size but the opposite direction. There, that's exactly what we want. Now I'm going to Command S to save, go back to 0, and press space bar to test it. Now he's swimming back and forth. Okay. So now I'm going to press space bar. I'm going to go to 0. I'm going to Command S. I'm going to close his transforms, and I'm going to lock fish 1. I'm also going to lock the background in case I don't want to grab it by accident. And now I'm going to go to fish 2. I want to move him as well, so I'm going to use P, and I'm going to make him go to the opposite side of the bowl. There he goes. And now I'm going to have him start their position. I'm going to go to the end. And here I'm going to have him swim all the way across. Okay, now I'm going to save that. I'm going to press the space bar and we can see what happens. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to add some puppet pins to fish 2. You can put the puppet pins on the fish. Now since he swims off, I'm going to have to move him on so I can see where he's starting. And I'm going to zoom in a little here. I'm going to add pins. One there, one there, one there. I'm going to have it expanding to 2 because I think he'll lose his whiskers if I don't have the mesh expand. Now, turn off the mesh so you don't see it now, but I just wanted to make sure it was expanding a bit. So here he's in this position, and so that's one place. I think I'll move it down a little bit and his middle up a little bit. I'm going to go back to where he's off screen. I'm going to change my view so I can see the whole screen again. And now you can see his puppet pins. So now you can go ahead and move his puppet pins. And this puts in keyframes wherever you do that. So I'll show you where that is. And they're under Deform. Here, and we'll have him flip up again. Give him that sort of feeling that maybe he's flipping his tail behind him. And then we'll make his tail come back down. Okay, now I'm going to save that. And I'm going to maybe have him go up a little bit all the way. There we go. And okay, Command S. And let's go back to frame 1. See what it's doing. Okay, that's good. Now we want to make the other fish move also, or it's going to look silly. I have them both moving about an equal amount. So we'll lock fish 2 and we'll go to fish 1. Now fish 1, we really do need to go inside of fish 1 because he's a composition and we'll be able to move his fins separately. So here's his tail. We'll move his tail and we'll move his side fins. So let's get these open. And I basically want to take this little guy and I want to change, well, a couple of things. First, I want to make sure that I set the center of rotation, which would be the using the pan behind tool, which is Y, and you would take this center of rotation point or transform point and put it where it will be best for the rotation of the tail. And then we'll go to the fins and the same thing. We'll select the fin and move that up there. Okay, so now we can make that rotate. And we could do other things with it as well, but I think rotation is the main thing that will work. Starting with the side fins, click on the rotation, get the rotation tool, which is W, and then come up to a little bit further up here, and we'll rotate it way up. A little bit further up here, rotate it way down. We're trying to make it look like he's really swimming, so he's getting up a little head of steam there. Okay, and then to copy those so you can duplicate them, you can just copy a group of them, Command C, and then come to where you want that next set to start, Command V, and then we don't need as many as all that for this next part. We just need maybe 2 or 3. So let's just get these 3, Command C, and we'll come up here and Command V. And now his fins will move in a nice little flippy manner there. And now we go back to frame 1, set the rotation for the tail. Okay, so now we're going to do the rotation, get the rotation tool, and we're going to move this up a little bit, rotate like that, a little bit further over, rotate like that, a little bit further over, and rotate like that. And then once again, let's get all these, Command C, move up, Command V, and Command V, and that should be good. And then we'll go back to this comp and go to the 0. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, that looks good. Go back to 0. Command S. And in order to make this into a movie, you've got to go to Composition, Make Movie, and it opens up the render queue. We want it to be an H.264, and we want to check to make sure we know where it's going, and we want this to go to, and we want this to go to the correct folder. So let's come here and find where I want to put it. Here's my tutorials folder, and I will save it into there and render it. Okay, and that should be 13 tutorials.